Today, seemingly out of nowhere, we got our next big teaser towards the Blackout Redacted event, something that we have not had much of any official word on since the launch of Operation Grand Heist and with the introduction of the first roadmap for content back in mid-February debuted. Though we had previously inferred about what was on deck, it seems like we finally have gotten our first look at what's actually coming. But a quick little note, while we're up to bat with a large week of content and information and news discussed about Black Ops 4, I was casually checking out some information and analytics, and I found that actually 65% of viewers came across the content through recommended videos and aren't subscribed to the channel. So, especially with the bigger week up on deck and presumably MW4 teasers right around the corner before the launch of next month's 4th operation in Black Ops 4, would me a favor, hit that subscribe button and maybe even the bell so that you don't miss any of the information that's to come. But anyways, it seems like today we got our first big teaser for the Blackout Redacted event, and maybe even as by simply just association, the next big free content update for Black Ops 4 at a top-down and holistic standpoint. So let's break it down. We've been wondering where it's at, Alcatraz in particular, for quite some time. We've seen the teasers, the first one being the Grand Heist pre-release, little 8-second teaser video that showcased some of the upcoming changes denoted by the X's on the maps, in which we saw that all that pointed towards new POIs, new additions, the largest of those being Ghost Town and then a bunch of different additional locations and buildings around the map. But in the upper left corner of that, we saw that there was a coffee mug size ring of moisture off in that northwest corner of the map. This initially got people talking, but of course the other X's elsewhere proved to be more beneficial to discuss at a more immediate standpoint, but it's still in the back of people's minds. Then we ended up seeing that we saw freeze-frame screenshots of players dropping into a blackout map shrouded in darkness, as well as a glimpse of what can only be made out to be Alcatraz in the Operation Grand Heist official trailer. Then as of recently, we had included with the update 1.14 to kick off the Shamrock and Awe event, and of course that spring map update for Blackout that came along with it, the inclusion of Icarus, the makeshift plane from Mob of the Dead in the northwesternmost corner of the map, just outside the playable boundaries in the ocean, which seemingly was another subtle nod at what may be coming. All that to me was definitive teasers, progressively getting more and more specific with each passing edition, but today, it seems like we've had even more specifics granted as the official Call of Duty Instagram out of nowhere at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and so on, dropped a new teaser with an official countdown timer of what you'll see on screen. The little video attached to Call of Duty's Instagram story showcases a camera going in and out of focus on what looks to be like Alcatraz Island, off in that bay with the water and impending darkness, but also players dropping into it. Bunch of parachutes coming down over top, and that's the only portion that we have here to discern. That's the visuals with it, but the interesting part doesn't necessarily lie in just what's there. Of course, while I don't think there's any way to doubt what this actually looks to be, if you want to take it a step further and just confirm for yourself, and you want to take a look at what is actually associated with it, along with a timer, there is the coordinates of 37.827 degrees north by 122.4230 degrees west. When you input that into Google Maps, a coordinate finder, wherever you want to drop those numbers into, it perfectly brings you to none other than Alcatraz Island in the heart of the San Francisco Bay. So I think we can finally now put to rest the idea that Alcatraz Island is not only just something we think is coming, but officially looks to be coming at some point. So if there's any doubt in your mind now, to me, I think this should be 100% definitive that the inclusion of the Mob of the Dead Alcatraz Island will be making its way over into Blackout. But the curious part to me isn't necessarily just that it's finally officially teased in this capacity, but the curious part more so is the timer. Because if you examine it, depending on when you view this for yourselves, obviously the time will be different, but the end time is still entirely the same. That being tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. GMT, and so on. So it's curious to me because that's a Monday. We don't normally see any updates on Mondays. Tuesdays are primarily the go-to days of the week for Activision and their updates for marketing and things like that. And if I'm not mistaken, even Destiny had updates on Tuesday when they were still with Activision. So Tuesdays, whatever the reason, updates and announcements, and previously even entire game launches were primarily on Tuesday. So having it on Monday just seems a little curious to me. So there's a couple of different ways we can break this down and kind of expect what to see at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. The big elephant in the room, though, that I want to get out of the way immediately is that I've seen discussion that this will be an April Fool's joke. It'll be something that, given tomorrow is April 1st, people will just tune in thinking something awesome is going to happen, and then it's just a letdown, something that Treyarch will try and fool everybody with. But I don't necessarily think that's the case, especially given the fact that some community reception on recent announcements and official releases haven't been the greatest as of late. talking that $30 hammer. So with the community already hoping for something much larger, something more substantial than that of what they've seen previously, I can't imagine that this is a fake out. I can't imagine this is anything that doesn't amount to anything. So what I actually think, though, is that this may in fact be a teaser or an official confirmation of the new POI and update coming as of Tuesday. I don't see them dropping it on Monday again because of reasons we've already discussed. Plus, the only updates we've seen in Black Ops 4 that have dropped on Monday, I think, were Operation Absolute Zero, and I think that's actually it, where we saw a couple of Blackout tuning passes go live earlier than the actual updated content itself, but we didn't get the new POI or anything like that. So while it could happen in that capacity, I don't think it's going to be playable to anyone before Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So even while an update isn't likely, I do think that a teaser or confirmation may in fact be something we see a little more of. David Vonderhaar recently mentioned that he was doing some filming for another developer update, one that we have had recently included the sound team and engineering team on that regard, but we didn't see anything in relation to a developer update that he would be a part of. We saw that he was a part of the stream as of last week, but not anything pre-recorded. So that could be something that they're now addressing these sort of things as a sort of preview for what's to come as of tomorrow, and being that Vonderhaar is the point guy for Blackout, makes sense in that regard as well. Other reasons that it fits as well come into the fact that it would slide perfectly in with potentially another update that we've already discussed, that being an MP update of some sorts. We're still missing a couple of things in MP, and we detailed this yesterday. I don't mean to recap and rehash everything overall, but just to kind of explain a little bit further how this could fit as potentially a Tuesday update, we end up seeing that we may end up getting that mini stream event coming on the horizon with a new Vendetta sniper rifle, a new camo, maybe a Blackout skin or two or something like that. And as we already discussed once again before, that would be very similar to how we saw the Barbarians event being released as of Operation Absolute Zero. That was released with 28 days left in the event itself, or I guess depending on when you looked at it, 27 days and a few hours of change on that day. So if you take a look at the comparable timetable for what we have left of Grand Heist, well, Tuesday's that 28-day mark left on what's available still to go in the event. So it would come down to being a perfect tie-in with that, and so therefore, if MP is getting an update, it makes sense for Blackout to get an update, and maybe even Zombies getting an update as of that new gauntlet that is apparently in the game files as well. COD marketing is normally symmetrical or identical in format to the point where a lot of the timing comes down to be very predictable, because you already saw it happen as one way, and so therefore, it's probably going to happen the same way, but just at a later point in time. So assuming that we have those things on the horizon, it slides in very nicely that the next free content update includes also this Blackout update for Alcatraz. So timing everything out of the way, suppose it does come. Is this going to be the only update that we see to the Blackout map for quite some time? Because again, it's the first time we've seen a secondary POI added in the same event. And also with another event coming up at the end of the month, April 30th is when we'll see that transition from Operation Grand Heist into Operation 4. Is that going to be something where we can expect another POI added in? Because it's a kind of short turnaround time here for this. Backtracking and explaining fully as of this entire thought, let's start out at point 1. This is of course the first time in Black Ops 4's history that we'll see 2 POIs added in one event. Previously, the only other POI added in was Hijacked with Operation Absolute Zero, and that was it. Nothing more through the entire event, but with 2 coming, that's just the stage for further expansion throughout the year. As we just mentioned, a lot of the COD marketing and release schedule is very symmetrical, very identical to each other. So if this happens twice in Grand Heist, I'd expect 2 more to be coming in Operation 4, maybe 2 more in Operation 5, and so on. So I'd imagine the release window is very similar to that of what we see for the start of an operation, and then just slightly over or around that mid to halfway point of the operation that we see a secondary POI added in. Your guess is as good as mine if that will actually happen. I think that might be more likely, and even sort of to reiterate some of the conversations I had with developers out at Treyarch before Grand Heist even dropped, they mentioned that they're ready to gear up and kick off even more of an aggressive launch window for more updates like this. So it's definitely possible we see more and more added in, and with so many more iconic maps still left in the Black Ops franchise that they could pull from, there's so many different possibilities. Things that I automatically gravitate towards are things like Cove off in the southwest oceanic portion of the map, possibly Combine or Dig off in the eastern desert of the map, and so on and so forth. There's genuinely a ton of ideas you could play around with, but one also thing that kind of hints towards me thinking that we'll see another POI added in just about 4 weeks' time if this happens on Tuesday with the launch of Operation 4 is that we're going to need another global lighting change. Assuming that all things that we've seen so far indicate that we'll not only get Alcatraz as a new POI, but also a global lighting shift to Blackout at night, 4 weeks is roughly that window that we'll see for Operation Grand Heist's Blackout Skybox to be updated. It'll be about 4 weeks of nighttime, about 4 weeks of a sort of setting sun that we have currently now with the spring update, and then also off the top of my head, I'm not entirely sure if it's 100% accurate, but it was roughly 4 to 5 weeks at the very start, still being in that fall or wintry styled map that we saw to kick off Operation Grand Heist. So we're going to see another change in that global lighting, so it would make sense then to have another map update with potentially a new POI. So that ultimately is everything that there is to know about what potentially may be happening as of Tuesday. What I would imagine is again teased tomorrow, but it all stemmed from that brand new seeming confirmation of Alcatraz Island coming into Blackout from Call of Duty's official Twitter account. So that's where we're going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. I know we kind of over-examined everything and looked at pretty much every single possibility out of one Instagram promo, but wanted to make it thorough, wanted to include everything and all the possibilities that may stem from that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you're looking out for the brand new Blackout Redacted event and what that may include also on the MP and Zombies front for those guys that may not care all that much about Blackout, but love to get your thoughts and feedback. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. Of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Call of Duty. A lot of stuff is coming up, not only with just Black Ops 4, so like we mentioned, if you're part of that 65% that are not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing and can stay up to date daily with all the news, information, updates, tips, tricks, all that good stuff regarding Call of Duty. So, anything interests you, hit that subscribe button. And also, if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, there's the best place to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to share up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. Well, let's send that out of the way. Hopefully you guys had a fantastic day. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.